Right now, try to raise your hand. Go ahead. You felt yourself decide to do that, right? But what if I told you your brain made that decision almost half a second before you were even aware of it? That the feeling of choosing was just a story your mind told you after the fact? Because that's not philosophy. That's neuroscience. And what it implies about who you actually are might be the most unsettling thing you'll hear today. We've talked on this channel before about consciousness. That strange, almost miraculous fact that the universe developed the ability to experience itself. And so many of you told me the same thing. Something clicked into place that you couldn't unclick. That's what happens when you touch a real question. Free will is the next real question. And it connects to consciousness in a way that makes both of them more disturbing and more beautiful at the same time. So let's start with the problem itself. Determinism is the idea that every event in the universe, every particle collision, every chemical reaction, every firing neuron in your brain, follows directly and inevitably from what came before it. If you knew the exact state of every particle in the universe at any given moment, you could, in principle, calculate everything that would ever happen afterward. Every war, every invention, every word you're about to say, already determined. Now here's where that gets personal. Your brain is a physical system. It's made of neurons. Neurons are made of atoms. Atoms follow physical laws. So if determinism is true, then your thoughts, your decisions, your feelings, every single thing you experience as a choice is just a chain of physical causes that started long before you existed. You didn't choose your brain. You didn't choose your childhood. You didn't choose the initial conditions that shaped every preference and fear and belief you carry. So in what meaningful sense did you choose anything at all? This is the hard problem of free will, not just whether we have it, but whether the concept even makes sense in a physical universe. And it gets worse. Neuroscientist Benjamin Libet conducted experiments decades ago that found something remarkable. When people made spontaneous movements, electrical activity in the brain, indicating the brain had already initiated the action, appeared before people were consciously aware of deciding to move. Your brain makes the decision before your conscious mind even knows about it. The feeling of deciding? It might be a story your consciousness tells after the fact, a narrative layered on top of something that already happened without you. You are not the author, you are the narrator. And the narrator doesn't know it's reading a script someone else wrote. Now I know the instinct is to fight that. The instinct is to say, no, that can't be right. I make choices all the time. I feel myself deciding, and that feeling is real. But the question is what that feeling actually is. A genuine causal force in the universe, or an echo of a process that already concluded before awareness arrived. Stay with me here, because this is where people think they've found an escape hatch. Quantum mechanics. Quantum physics tells us that at the subatomic level, reality is fundamentally probabilistic. Particles don't have definite positions or states until they're measured. There's genuine randomness baked into the universe. So maybe determinism is wrong. Maybe the future isn't fixed. But here's the problem with using quantum randomness as a rescue for free will. Randomness isn't freedom. If your decisions are ultimately the result of random quantum fluctuations in your neurons, that doesn't mean you're in control. It means you're a dice roll. You haven't gained agency. You've just traded one kind of lack of control for another. A determined robot and a random robot are both still robots. So neither determinism nor quantum randomness obviously saves free will. Every theory seems to leave something crucial out. But don't close this tab yet, because there is another way to look at this, and it doesn't require you to abandon science or pretend the evidence doesn't exist. It requires something more uncomfortable, a fundamental rethinking of what you mean by the word choice. Compatibilism is the philosophical position that free will and determinism are not actually in conflict, because we've been asking the wrong question. Philosophers like Daniel Dennett have argued that when we talk about freedom and choice, we're not actually asking whether our decisions escape the laws of physics. We're asking whether our decisions emerge from our own reasoning, values, and deliberation, as opposed to external coercion or compulsion. A person who acts from their own beliefs and desires, even if those beliefs and desires are themselves the products of physical processes, is genuinely choosing in the only sense of the word that actually matters. Think about it this way. A river flows downhill. Every molecule of water is obeying physical laws. But we still distinguish between a river that flows freely and a river that's been dammed. The dam changes something real about what the river does, even if both scenarios are physically determined. The distinction is meaningful even inside a deterministic system. You are more like the river than you might think. The you that chooses is the entire system, your history, your values, your capacity for reflection, all of it operating together. And when that system deliberates and acts, something real is happening, even if it's made of atoms following rules. And this is the part that changes everything. Because compatibilism still can't fully answer the deepest piece of this puzzle: consciousness. Your raw, subjective experience of weighing a decision, of feeling the weight of a moment, of sensing that something genuinely matters. That experience doesn't feel like it can be fully captured by talk of physical processes and causal chains. It feels like something extra. It feels like there's a perspective here, a witness, and that witness is doing something that atoms simply do not do on their own. This brings us full circle. We don't understand consciousness. We don't know why there is something it is like to be you. We don't know why physical processes in a brain give rise to an inner world. And this is the deepest, most unsettling connection between consciousness and free will. Maybe they're the same mystery. Maybe the question of why you're aware at all and the question of whether your awareness does anything, whether it has any real causal power, are pointing at the same gap in our understanding of reality. If you're the kind of person who needs to follow questions like this all the way down, hit subscribe, because that's exactly what we do here, and we're just getting started. Some physicists and philosophers have started wondering whether consciousness is not a byproduct of physical processes, but something more fundamental. Whether awareness is woven into the structure of reality itself, not something brains accidentally produce. Theories like panpsychism or integrated information theory are still speculative and deeply controversial. But they take seriously what pure materialism sometimes dismisses: that the first-person perspective might matter in a way that third-person physics can't fully capture. And if consciousness is genuinely part of the causal fabric of the universe, not just an illusion riding on top of it, then free will looks different. It doesn't mean escaping physics. It might mean that physics, at its deepest level, includes something like perspective, something like experience, something like choice. We don't know. And I want to be honest about that. This is one of those areas where the frontier of human understanding is genuinely open. The smartest people alive disagree. The experiments don't settle it. The philosophy loops back on itself. We are genuinely in the dark. But here is what I find remarkable about all of this. The very fact that you're troubled by this question, the fact that it disturbs you, that you care about the answer, that you feel like it matters whether you're free, that feeling itself is extraordinary. A rock doesn't worry about determinism. A cloud doesn't wonder if it chose to form. Something in you is asking the question, and whatever that something is, it is one of the strangest and most astonishing things in the known universe. Whether or not your choices are free in some ultimate metaphysical sense, you are the part of the universe that is wrestling with the question. And maybe that's not nothing. Maybe that's everything. The question isn't settled. The answer might change what you think about responsibility, punishment, love, regret, and who you actually are. So don't let this one go quiet. Follow it. because the deeper you go, the more you realize that finding the answer might be less important than becoming the kind of person who refuses to stop asking. If this made you think, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you want to keep going right now, this video right here goes even deeper. I'll see you there.